phone by a person in the near vicinity and uploaded to social media. And it showed a police officer striking the man in the back. SAPOL's review of the incident comprised of three separate independent aspects. The first aspect was an investigation into whether or not the officers had committed any criminal offences during their interaction with the man, and that investigation was undertaken by the anti-corruption section of the South Australia Police. It'll be alleged that the body-worn video of one of the officers showed that during the search, the man attempted to break away from police, and the footage continues to show the ensuing struggle between the man and the police, which lasted for over 4 minutes. Only the final part of that arrest was filmed on the witness's mobile phone, and at that point it will be alleged that officers were attempting to handcuff the man as he was continuing to resist their efforts. The second inquiry was conducted by SAPOL's internal investigation section, and it related to whether or not the officers had breached SAPOL's code of conduct in relation to the search of the man, or whether the use of force was excessive. That investigation found that the officers have acted honestly and reasonably in stopping and searching the man, and it's alleged that he did not comply with their directions when he attempted to resist and hinder them. This led to the struggle, which was ultimately videoed, and SAPOL's review finds that the officers' actions in the circumstances were reasonable and in accordance with the code of conduct. The final aspect of the review relates to the evidence which was assessed by SAPOL's prosecution services. On the night of the arrest, the person was released without charge, and a review was conducted by prosecution regarding the circumstances that led to him being interacting with police. As a result of that review, a summons will be issued to the man, and he will be attending the Port Adelaide Magistrates Court on the 8th of October and face charges of hinder police, resist arrest and property damage. All aspects of this investigation, the criminal and the police conduct, have been subject to live independent oversight by the Office for Public Integrity, and also a section of the Independent Commission Against Corruption. SAPOL specifically requested the Office for Public Integrity to pay particular attention to this investigation and review, given the public interest in this matter. The OP have communicated in writing with SAPOL that they do not determine to reassess or give any directions to SAPOL regarding the outcome of the investigation process. This means that they have accepted the process and the findings of the internal police reviews. At the time of this matter coming to public light, I gave an undertaking that I would consider releasing the body-worn video of the police officers once the review has been completed. Given that a decision has been made to summons the 28-year-old man to appear in court, it is now not an appropriate course of action for me to release that body-worn video. However, at the conclusion of that court process, I will reconsider that and make a determination at that time. It is not customary or required of me to disclose information about the results of internal inquiries conducted under the Police Complaints and Discipline Act. However, given the significant public interest in this particular matter and the extensive viewing of the images, I thought it was appropriate that these findings be disclosed as soon as possible. That inquiry process has now concluded, and this is that advice.
So, Commissioner, he's been summoned to appear charged with resisting arrest, or is it for the drug possession or allegedly?
I'm advised that there were no substances found as a result of the search process, but the individual's actions have resulted in him being charged with hindering police, resisting arrest and property damage.
But his argument would be that he was doing nothing wrong and he was hassled by police, and it escalated from that point.
That will be a matter for the courts to determine, and I don't propose to make any further comments about that process. We do have a system in place that will determine the facts, and we'll wait for that outcome.
So, Commissioner, you're saying the actual striking action was trying to put handcuffs on that man?
The actions of the officers were deemed to be appropriate in the circumstances, and they were found to be reasonable in the circumstances.
What was the reason for the search, Commissioner, in the first place?
Like I said, the circumstances relating to the charges being laid against the 28-year-old man will be subject to a judicial process, and we'll allow that to occur, and I can't make any further comment on that.
There were accusations of racism involved in this arrest. Does this clear these officers of any issues there?
This clears these officers of any allegations of wrongdoing in accordance with SAPOL's code of conduct and on the basis of any criminal allegations relating to their behaviour. I can say that South Australia Police takes a very strong stance in relation to the issues of racism and discrimination, and officers are held to a very high standard. Police officers who do not abide by those standards will be held to account for their actions.
So the reason for not releasing the footage at this stage, you say, is to not prejudice the court process?
Prejudice the court process.
So why would it be prejudicial to disclose why the search was conducted in the first place?
This will be a matter of the facts that are presented to the court. We will allow that process to occur, and if necessary, we'll make further comment at the conclusion of that
So
process.
sorry, I think you said this before, but so what charges do you expect to be laid?
The 28-year-old man will be charged with hindering police, resisting arrest, and property damage.
Is there still a chance then that the search wasn't lawful?
That will be a matter for the courts to determine when they consider the full circumstances of this case.
So the issue here is that police, on the face of it, haven't used excessive force, but it's still possible that the search was unlawful.
That will be a matter for the magistrates court to determine when they hear the case.
Have the officers involved been taken off administrative duties
I advised the officers this afternoon that they were being put back onto operational duties
from today?
as of now, yes.
Are you worried about any more protests? Obviously, we saw a few after the first arrest.
Can I say that the protest activity we've seen in South Australia has been peaceful and well conducted. We would not stand in the way of anyone's right to protest, and we'll support those protest activities as much as we can to ensure the safety of people participating in those protests.
Commissioner, what's your view of lifting the age of criminal responsibility?
I don't have specific information on that at the moment. We have provided advice to the Attorney General on that, and I'll leave that at that point.
What's the nature of that advice?
I won't elaborate. It's been advice to the Attorney.
When were you actually these findings made aware to you? Was it in the last week or was it just today? I mean, obviously it's a late press conference on Friday.
Well, the internal investigation process has been concluded, and we've been awaiting confirmation from the Office of Public Integrity that they are satisfied with the outcome of this process. We received that just in the last day or two. I can advise that the second officer's body-worn video was ripped from the officer's uniform during the incident, and that body-worn video was only handed into police yesterday, and that's been reviewed, and we are now in a position where we can make a public statement regarding the outcome of the process.
There was so much, as we've said, public discussion about this arrest at the time. Can you see why, I guess, the information today might not really put any of those concerns to rest?
Well, let me say this. Policing is a difficult job, and police officers are called to intervene in a range of circumstances. Some of those circumstances require the use of force. It is never going to look good when police officers use force against a member of the public in the execution of their duty. When it's videoed and parts of that incident are shown on social media, people form opinions on the basis of what they've seen. Officers carry out an extremely difficult job, and they do it exceptionally well. But there are occasions when officers do exceed their authorities. In those occasions, we hold those officers to account. This is a very difficult piece of police work, dealing with members of the public in circumstances of physical violence, and we've seen plenty of images where offenders have assaulted police, caused harm, aggressively resisted arrest. It requires intervention by police. It won't look good most of the time.
Obviously, are you referring to the striking of the hands? Obviously, we see that in the video, the striking of the hands, and as you say, that is to get his hands together into the handcuffs.
That's correct. Yep.
Alright.
Thank you.
Was it, just one more, sorry, was
Last
it
one.
a decision for police or a decision for the prosecution branch or the courts not to release the vision?
Based on the fact that we have initiated charges against the man, it would be prejudicial to release that video at this time. As I've said, once that court process is concluded, we'll reconsider the opportunities to release that body-worn video.
And sorry, the investigation was internal or independent? Internal, is
Yep. The investigation was conducted, one investigation by our anti-corruption section in relation to the criminal aspects of the behaviour of the police officers. The second aspect was done by our internal investigation section. Both investigations were independently oversighted by the Office of Public Integrity. I can't stress this enough. They have indicated to us that they don't seek to intervene or give any directions to SAPOL, which can be interpreted as they are satisfied with the conduct of the investigation and the outcome.
Alright, thanks
Thank you.
everyone.
Thank you.